Hi there, I'm April Callis-Birchmeier, and I'm a certified change management professional, master certified change professional, and project management professional. And I'm happy to talk with you today about change management and AI. And everybody is talking about AI. ChatGPT feels like it came in a year ago and just kind of blew the doors off. We have Perplexity, we have Gamma, we have all sorts of different Copilot. We have Gemini in Google. So there's all these different AI tools, and they're everywhere. And it's important to recognize that this is one of the ways that we can kind of future-proof our career and stay relevant. So my conversation today with you is going to be about how to use these AI tools, some of the considerations you might want to think about before you are engaging with AI tools, and then also thinking about some of the ethical consequences and maybe conundrums that we can find ourselves in working with AI and organizational change management. And and then I also think it's important to really kind of step back and see, like, what are the things that you can do to really prepare yourself for the next 5 years? I mean, if you think about just 2 years ago, we didn't have this tool proliferation everywhere. It was, we knew chat was coming, people were trying it, and now it seems like everywhere you look, there are new tools. So I think that there's actually going to be a dramatic spike in usage in the next 2 years or even 5 years. Of course, more in 5 years. But I think there's a lot to think about in terms of how it impacts you as a change management professional. What are the things that only you can do, and what are the things that you can have help with from AI? But I must start out by talking about artificial intelligence is very different than AI, actual intelligence. Actual intelligence is the intelligence that we have as humans based on our experience and our perceptions, based on our environmental scan, based on all of the things that make us human. And of course, we may not process as quickly, we may not draft communications quite as fast as AI, but we do have actual intelligence. So I don't want anyone to ever feel like they are out of the picture, because when working with people on organizational change, on individual change, on the mindset shift and the behavior change that has to happen to be able to adopt change completely, when we're thinking about that, it's really important to recognize that the human is at the center of the change. And when human beings are at the center of the change, human beings can help. I'm not saying AI can't help. I think it can. I think there's a lot that AI can do for us. And I'm not here to say that we shouldn't use it. I'm using it, and I hope that you are starting to also. But I am saying that there's a difference. There's a difference between what I feel and know as a human and what I may deploy in my work as a change management professional, and maybe cutting down some of the busy work, some of the analysis that may help me to formulate my strategy, to develop my plan, and then to execute the plan. So let's talk a little bit about this. I think AI is going to have a dramatic impact on change management. And in fact, I think that we may not even proceed to have change management in the way that we know it now. That being said, I'm not trying to say that we won't have a need for change management. I just think that we will start to see it as more of a holistic piece that's baked into all of the pieces around a project. That maybe it won't be a piece that's separate as it is sometimes now. Sometimes now we find that change management sits outside of a project and then maybe comes in to work with the project. Now we sometimes see that change management is its own entity, or maybe just incorporated into every project. But sometimes I feel that we are still seen as a separate piece. And maybe AI will help bring change management into the mainstream in terms of a holistic approach. That's my hope. So let's think about how can we use it to stay to work smarter, to stay relevant. I think I probably don't know every answer to that, but I'll tell you how I'm doing things. I'm using AI to work smarter in my research. When I'm thinking about an organization, I'm thinking about other organizations that are of similar size, maybe similar complexity, and what have they discovered in their work around change? What have they found? And AI can help me to do that research much more quickly. One of the tools I use for research is Perplexity. And I like Perplexity because it shows me the sources that it's used for research. I think using Perplexity is really helpful because sometimes I find those links that Perplexity is giving me to different studies or maybe to different analyses to be really valuable. Sometimes I'll go into that link and really read the entire paper. Sometimes I just go and validate that the information that I want is being applied correctly. And so I really like using Perplexity for that. I have Chat GPT, of course, and I also use a prompt engineer on top of that so that I can get a little bit more nuanced in my prompts. And I think the prompt engineering tool I use is AI RPM. And it's a tool that I have with chat. And so it allows me to use different lenses, if you will, to use different lenses in my prompts, in my questions. And there's also access to prompts that other people have built. And sometimes those are already really solid, and you just want to maybe change the tone, maybe you want to change the focus. And so that's a really helpful tool, Chat GPT with the AI RPM. And then I think also, I have not used Copilot much. I have access to a limited version, and I haven't used it very much. So if you're using Copilot, I'd love to hear from you. I have just started to use Gemini a bit and a little bit of Grok to see what that's like. And I think both of those are excellent tools as well. One of the things that can help us to stay relevant is that I think AI can help us to read more quickly. It can summarize materials very quickly for us so that we can have a big picture summary of something as opposed to having to kind of make sure that we are reading as much as we possibly can. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but the reading load is tough to get through. So I think that that's a great way to help us work smarter and to be more relevant because we're reading the most relevant, up to date information. I think also we can use AI to help us in some of our change management kind of execution tasks. You know, if I'm working with an AI prompt and I have my project sort of outlined with that tool, I can generate maybe 10 or 15 versions of different emails and then go through and very quickly decide, what works well for this project, what, I could maybe revise and tweak. I can kind of give feedback back and forth. I also think that AI can really help us as change professionals in the sense that it's a good thought partner. Now, I think it's really smart to start to have a dialogue with your AI tool. The one my first choice is always Chat GPT with the prompt engineering. And I like to have my chat and ask for ideas and then ask for refinement. And then I feel like I'm talking with one of my brainstorming buddies, because sometimes it's hard to find people who want to brainstorm or who have the time to brainstorm about an organizational change project and some of the different tactics that we can use and how new pieces are able to connect together. And I think that using a chat GPT or an AI tool as a brainstorming partner is an excellent use of AI. And if you haven't tried that yet, I encourage you to do so. If you've been doing it for a year already, I salute you, because I think it's very important to think about that. There are places, though, I don't like to use AI. When I'm doing my stakeholder analysis, like, I am very happy to have AI help me identify stakeholder groups and to look at my stakeholder group list and help me think, have I missed any groups? Are there other groups that might be impacted by this change? So I'm very content with that. But when I'm getting into the thinking about what the stakeholders are going to gain from the change, what they're going to lose from the change, and what they might fear about the change, I actually prefer my thoughts, my brain in thinking about that. And I also like to hear from the stakeholders. I want to have a facilitated session where I'm talking with stakeholders about how they feel. I mean, sometimes it's surprising, isn't it? When we talk with a stakeholder group and they say, oh, everything's good, I don't have any problems with the change. I have yet to find that group. But, there are stakeholder groups that really feel like the impact isn't going to be so much on them. And they're pretty cheerful about it. And, I want to know that as a human, because it helps me to think about that group in comparison to maybe another stakeholder group that's really suffering with a sense of loss. And they have a lot of fear about this change. What's the difference between these groups? That's not something I want to trust to my AI tool. I really want to think about that as my own actual intelligence. I want to use my actual intelligence to think about what I know about these groups, what I know about people, what I understand about human behavior and motivation, and what I understand about behavior change and how to help somebody shift their mindset, how to develop that resilience. Those are things that I feel like I need to use my actual intelligence for, as opposed to my AI tools. So I also think also about when we should use AI and when we should not use AI on particular projects. Now, some of my clients don't want any AI, and I respect that. I understand that. I abide by that. I have a large client right now that won't even use any meeting tools. They won't use Fathom. They won't use, Rev. They won't use any kind of Otter tools to record meeting action items and notes. They just don't feel comfortable with the type of materials that they're talking about, with the type of strategy. Oh, I think I might sneeze. There, I think I got rid of it. The types of strategies that they have, that they're discussing in their meetings being recorded, even if they're in a closed loop system, they feel that it's too dangerous. They want to keep people keeping track of notes and action items and decisions that are made, as opposed to AI. And I respect that. And I abide by that. When I understand that a client does not want any AI on their project, that's fine with me. I'm happy to use my own actual intelligence to assist them in any way. But if a company is comfortable using AI tools, I want to use the tools that they have. I want to use the tools that they're comfortable with. So I think we have to ensure that before we start using AI for identifying some stakeholder um, lists, or maybe to start to break apart our learning needs assessment and develop a training curriculum, we have to check with our client. We have to check with our organization and make sure that that's okay with them, because I don't want to show up with something that I've used AI to create, and they have um, decided that they don't want that type of interference or impact or involvement in their organization. That's their right. And so I think anytime that we are using AI in our work, we have to disclose that to the people that we work with. We can't just come back with 100 email drafts and say, well, I think I have the email campaign uh, put together for the next year, and then not disclose that we're using some sort of AI tool to do that work. So I think that when we have work with an organization, we owe them the consideration of talking about this tool and what they want us to do. Should we use it? Should we not use it? Do they have something that they're already using that they would prefer that you train and learn and start to use to generate? But when I think about really future proofing your career, I mean, that's what we're doing, right? We know as change professionals that things will change quickly, rapidly evolving. And because things are rapidly evolving, it's important, really important to keep up, to stay current. Now, I have to tell you, sometimes I enjoy watching YouTube to catch up on some evening shows that I may not be able to see. But I have to sit through some YouTube ads usually, and those ads are all people trying to get me to go to an AI workshop for people over 40. How dare they assume I'm over 40? But anyway, they want me to go to their AI workshop for those over 40. And I have to say, that is not the place to learn about AI. There are many places that you can learn about artificial intelligence and the different types of tools. And if you have a question about where to go, please feel free to reach out to me because I have many resources. But I do think that it's important to train and make sure that you're relevant, make sure you're up to speed. Don't be afraid to jump into ChatGPT. You can download the free version and start trying prompts, start asking chat to give you information, and start to have a dialogue back and forth about different ideas. I think it's really important to do that because if we're change professionals, we have to be on the cutting edge of change. We can't stand back and watch and say, I'm not ready to engage yet. We have to get ourselves out there, get ourselves prepared, and future proof our own careers by ensuring that we know these tools and are able to use them. And when I think about the different types of tools that I would use, we there's so many now there are so many different presentation tools. There are drawing tools. ChatGPT has DALI for illustrations. My friend Tim Creasy used DALI to create an illustrated change management book, which I just thought was a fantastically creative idea on how to use it. I think there's many tools that we can use. I think even if I remember correctly, just about 2 years ago, I used ChatGPT to help me write a song for a wedding, which I thought was pretty interesting and fun. And that was 2 years ago. So it's been a while. It's important just to know that being up to speed, being up to date can make everything easier for you. Our clients are using all sorts of tools. And when we can come in and hit the ground running with their new tools, I think that's important. And when they say we don't want any sort of AI, we respect that and we just use the tools that we've been using all along that involve our actual intelligence. So I hope that this has been somewhat helpful to you, a little eye-opening. I do think that the world has changed. As change management professionals, we have to adapt, we have to engage, we have to adopt the new technology, the new change, the new understanding of how people work, and yet balance it with our own humanness, our own understanding of people and how they feel, and the things that people do when they have feelings, because it really is important to recognize that we're not machines. And even when we can have a machine assist us in our thinking and assist us in our strategic plans and formulating our change management plan, executing our projects, and even ensuring that the projects are closed correctly, we can have our machines help us, but only humans are humans. We can't be replaced by a technology that feels very human but isn't. It's not there, not quite yet. And even ask uh, when I ask my AI tools for human feelings and sensations, and they actually surprise me with how accurate they are and how understanding they are of the human condition, I still understand that I'm a human and they are not. And I think you have to do that for yourself as a change professional. Know that you actually have a humanness about you and the skills to do the work that you need to do to help people move through change. So I hope this is helpful to you. I'd love to hear from you. Please reach out. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to answer any questions, to provide any resources and guidance. And I also want to tell you that we have a big announcement coming up on Monday, the 11th. We have a big announcement about what to do if you want to put a CCMP after your name. We have something really exciting to help you distinguish yourself as a certified change management professional. So please be on the lookout for our announcements on LinkedIn. You are welcome to join our email list. Just say, put me on your email list and send me a note on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to put you on our email list so that you can be the first to know about our new CCMP prep paths that are being announced on Monday, August 11th. So I can't wait for you to hear about that. Please let me know if you have anything that you'd love to talk about, or if you think of something you'd like me to talk about on one of these conversations. I appreciate you joining me today, and I'm looking forward to talking with you in a week and a half. But most importantly, look for our announcements on Monday, August 11th, and I'll see you next time on my LinkedIn Live. Thanks for joining me today. I've really enjoyed talking about this today.